Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, please. Agenda 2.1 item, adoption of the agenda for the March 13th, 2018 regular meeting of council. We have a recommendation that the agenda for tonight's meeting be adopted, and I believe we have a couple of amendments. Did you want to make those amendments, or? Oops.
I could make them, or if our CEO has them, he could read them out.
Okay, would you read them out, please?
Worship, amendment number 1. The first comes from the new 2018 provincial budget. Evidently in the budget is proposal that properties that are secondary homes and not rented may be taxed to an additional 0.5% this year and 2% next year. This is 2% of assessed value. So if you have a $500,000 assessed value home, it's $10,000 additional property tax. However, there does not appear to be much in the way of clarification around this, and there needs to be. If, at an attempt to curb speculation in areas such as Vancouver, with incredibly high prices and where affordable rent is deemed to be $3,700 a month, that's right, affordable in Vancouver. If there is now a wide sweep of the brush, does this affect us, or are resort municipalities excluded? We need complete information on this, and people who continue to build secondary homes in Valemount for seasonal and recreational use need to know what the facts are. This could be a huge game changer for the province and dry up any current momentum of development anywhere in the province. We need to be aware, never mind the real estate chaos it could trigger in resort communities all over. Item number 2 is in view of Bill C-45. It is being recommended that every employer have a bylaw dealing specifically with marijuana as it relates to the performance of a person's job. If we do not have a clear and separate policy, it would be wise to retain our lawyer to draft a specific bylaw for us to review and adopt that meets the industry norm.
Okay. So, Councillor Reimer, you're making the motion to amend the agenda as per your request?
Yes?
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Blanchette. Any discussion? Any further amendments? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. And they'll be brought up under new.
That's right, Worship.
Yeah, okay. Agenda item 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the previous regular meeting of council. Motion, please. Councillor Torgerson and Councillor Reimer. Are there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, all in favor?
One.
Oh, okay.
Page 3.
Okay.
Spelling correction. Right at the top of the page. It may be a premier performance, but it is Premier Horton without the E.
It's being corrected.
Noted.
Oh, okay, so,
As amended.
yeah, I was just going to say, I appreciate that little humorous remark, though. A premier performance, but it's Premier Horgan. Okay, all in favor as corrected. Carried. Agenda item 4.1, we have a public hearing this evening, and I shall read the statement. A public hearing is being convened pursuant to the terms of the Local Government Act prior to consideration of proposed zoning amendment bylaw number 780-2018. At a public hearing, any person present who believes that his or her interest in property may be affected by a matter being considered shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matter contained in the proposal. However, it is important that all who speak at this meeting restrict their remarks to matters contained in the proposal, and it is my responsibility as chairperson of this meeting to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. Those of you who wish to speak concerning the proposal should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to the council and meeting by clearly stating your name. Then you may express your views concerning the proposal. Members of council may, if they so wish, ask questions of you following your presentation. However, the main function of the council members this evening is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at a public hearing to debate the merits of a proposal. Anyone who deems his or her interest in property to be affected should be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making his or her views known. At the conclusion of a public hearing, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representation made at the hearing. During the course of a public hearing, people sometimes tend to become enthusiastic or emotional. Regardless of whether you favor or oppose any particular application or argument, please refrain from applause or other expressions of emotion. Restraint enables others whose views may or may not coincide with your own to exercise their right to express their views, and enables all views expressed to be heard in as impartial a forum as possible. And I shall request our staff person, Megan Vincenti, will make a presentation with respect to the Village of Valemount Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 780-2018. Ms. Vincent.
Thank you, Your Worship. The public hearing this evening is in regards to John Crowley's zoning amendment application for 1430 King Road, legally described as Lot 3, District Lot 7354, Caribou District Plan 27338, PID 006-605-010. This amendment has two components. The first speaks to changing the zoning designation to allow the addition of a second dwelling, and the second component seeks permission for the combined uses of residential and short-term vacation rental on a single property. Only one short-term vacation rental will be permitted on the parcel, and combined uses will not be permitted within a single residence when there is a short-term vacation rental use. 1430 King Road is zoned Rural Residential 1 currently, and is therefore only permitted one single-family dwelling. Mr. Crowley has applied to change the zoning designation to Rural Residential 2 to allow for a second dwelling on the property. Additionally, Mr. Crowley is applying for a site-specific zoning amendment to permit the combined uses of residential and short-term vacation rental. Currently, in the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw, the regulations under section 4.12, short-term vacation rentals, state that short-term vacation rental is the only use permitted on the parcel. We think a site-specific amendment for combined uses is the best option for a few reasons. 1430 King Road is 1.9 hectares and is located west of Highway 5. It is designated as mixed residential in the official community plan, and this zoning amendment application fits well within this category. A very minimal impact to the community is expected, in part due to this being a site-specific amendment and the size of the lots in this area of town. Thank you, and I'm happy to hear any questions.
Council, do you have any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. Are there any written submissions to be read? Ms. Shepherd, there are none? Okay. And we do not require a presentation from the proponent at this time. Is the proponent present? No? Okay. And if there are any submissions and presentations by public which would form a part of the minutes, according to the statement read by me, if anyone feels that their property will be affected. Okay, then I'm going to close the public hearing. If there are no issues arising from the public hearing, it would be in order that the Village of Valemount Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 780-2018 be given third reading. Motion, please. Salt and Torgerson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 7.1. We just have here the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association. Is there any handout or?
It's in the agenda. It's in the agenda.
Page 21, Your
Oh,
Worship.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, here we are. And I have even made notes beside it. Okay. So, motion to receive, please, for discussion. Blanchette and Salt. Are there any questions or any discussion or any comments from council members? Yes? Councillor Salt.
Requesting a motion from council permitting me to attend the AGM in Edmonton.
I'll second that.
Okay. we'll take that motion, yes, by Councillor Salt and Councillor Torgerson, but I don't think it's necessary because you've been appointed by the Village of Valemount Council, and as president, you have to attend.
But I do believe, Your Worship, that the Director of Finance likes a resolution still to accompany any travel.
Okay, and of course, that's correct, but as president, they're not paying for your hotel and...
They've paid on other occasions, but not the
Not
AGM.
this, okay. All right, so does anybody have any comment from council, any questions? Yes, Councillor Torgerson.
Not for this issue.
Not for this issue? Okay, so all in favor of Councillor Salt's expenses being paid? Carried.
One more question.
Yes, okay.
Will you attend via teleconference, do you think?
I probably will.
Good.
Yes, yeah. I'm hoping that other past presidents and life members will as well. Just, even just for support and endorsement of some of the actions undertaken and perhaps some suggestions.
I'm hoping some will be in attendance, but I can't say anything further on that.
Okay, good.
But there have been some invites, so
Yes,
hopefully.
yes, I shall certainly attend by teleconference.
Thank you.
Okay, if there is nothing further, we'll go on to,
Your Worship.
yes?
There's a call for resolution. The deadline is March 21 for the TCYHA.
With respect to,
I would like to have council endorse a resolution that the TCYHA advocate the federal government to secure and deploy infrastructure funding for passing lane construction between Tijon and the western border of Jasper National Park.
okay, seconder please. Councillor Salt, okay. Any comments? I really support that because of the number of accidents that have happened there and very serious ones and fatalities, and yeah, they need to pay some attention there. So I would even vote for that. Councillor Reimer, do you have any comments on that?
I would fully support that.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion to request that the federal government provide some funding for the infrastructure of passing lanes, if not four lanes, then passing lanes.
8 lane it if they want.
And that's right, but to make it safer. And there is no cell service between Jasper and Tijon. So maybe that could be included in your discussions with, at the AGM. Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Carried. Is there anything from the reading file that council wishes to bring forward? Nothing at all? Yeah, oh, sorry, Councillor Torgerson.
I want to thank staff for the tremendous effort put into the gas tax funding applications and to congratulate us all on the receipt of a large grant from the gas tax for
Yes, and
asset management planning.
yes, and I'll let the administrator speak to that. You can release the amount?
Thank you, Your Worship. We
Okay.
can. We've received $165,000 to cover the planned asset management plan. So right now, the RFP is currently being worked on, and we hope to have a report in the next month to outline that.
Thank you. So that's good news, isn't it? Yeah. $165,000 is a lot of money to a community this size. With respect to the second item, child sex trafficking, I met Ms. Peters. She's from the education system in North Vancouver, and she has spoken all over this province. And I know that UBCM and NCLGA have passed motions for UBCM for the province to take some kind of action. And as you know, I've been involved indirectly in that as well. And trafficking, child trafficking makes more money, I'm told, for organized crime than illegal drugs. And British Columbia, I'm also advised, is a tourism destination place for people who want that kind of activity. And so I should get more information from Kathy Peters if council wishes. You see that she has a letter here to a number of us, municipalities, and I don't know whether it should be brought up again at UBCM or NCLGA, and or just write a letter to the minister who would be responsible for this, the provincial ministry, and request some action. What are council's thoughts? Yes.
I would bring it up at discussion at the NCLGA. There's power in numbers when it's speaking to this kind of resolution. And if they will entertain a late resolution, then by all means, send it to the Ministry of Childcare.
Okay. Councillor Torgerson, the NCLGA did pass a resolution, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but Ms. Peters is asking that municipalities in BC, would you please write a letter to the BC Premier John Horgan and the Public Safety Minister Solicitor General Mike Farnworth that we need a human trafficking task force and the federal law enforced as it is in the rest of the country, and send me a copy of that letter. Apparently it's not being enforced in British Columbia. I don't know why. So what is council, you would make that motion? Okay, so moved by Councillor Blanchette that we write a letter to BC Premier John Horgan and Public Safety Minister Solicitor General Mike Farnworth that we need a human trafficking task force and the federal law enforced as it is in the rest of the country, and send her a copy of that letter. Can I have a seconder? Okay. Councillor Salt. Is there any discussion? Yes.
One of my committees, I just found out this week that this is a huge problem beyond anything we can even think about.
Yes.
It's incredibly huge.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And the more information that that we are given, the more horrendous and heinous is the human trafficking. Okay. All in favor? Carried. And I'll make some further comments later after the public meeting is closed. Agenda item 9.1, the January 2018 accounts payable. Motion, please, that the January 2018 accounts payable report be received. Torgerson and Salt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. 9.2, that the February 2018 accounts payable report be received. Motion, please. Reimer and Blanchette. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. And agenda item 9.3. The second annual Valemount Craft Beer Experience. Recommendation that the report regarding the second annual Valemount Craft Beer Experience be received. Okay, Blanchette and Torgerson. Any discussion? Yes, Councillor Torgerson.
I know the Tourism Board is really looking forward to this event and a large percentage of the tourism operators.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blanchette.
The Chamber of Commerce is looking forward to it too, and all of the board have stepped up to volunteer and help. So it's nice to see. And this is an exciting event that was very successful.
Okay. Councillor Salt?
It's going to be even bigger this year. 200 more tickets this year.
Yes, from 500 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So.
One more comment?
Yes, Councillor.
They're almost sold out.
That's what I heard. 3 more months to go and it's almost sold out. So that's good news. Okay, if there's no further comment, all in favor? Carried. 11.1, council reports. Councillor Blanchette.
So on the 5th, we had the CBT CIP public presentation. It was very well attended. It was nice to see so many public out there and so many great applications. I really want to thank the Toastmasters for doing their timing. And Krista and Sylvia really did a fantastic job of setting up the whole evening and making it run perfectly, so I wanted to thank them. On the 10th, we had our CBT committee deliberations. And this is a really rewarding committee to be part of, but it's also very difficult. So I want everybody to remember that these are all volunteers that work really hard to do the best they can. These committee members are fantastic. They're full of dedication, energy, and passion, and I just wanted to thank them all. It's been really great being on that committee with them this year. And the 12th, I had a child and youth mental health, and we're trying to reach out to a lot of the youth and find out what they want, what they need, what they'd like to see. So everybody knows I work at the library, so if you're a youth or a parent or an aunt or an uncle or whatever, and you've heard of your child saying, I wish we had such and such, please come and talk to me and we'll see what we can do, because the committee's really working hard to help the youth in our committee, or our community. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Reimer.
March 5th, I attended a Valemount Community Forest meeting by Skype, and I've been working on some other Valemount Community Forest situations as they come up in the last week. So that's what I've been doing.
Plus having fun in the sun.
Actually trying to solve some of the problems down here. Every morning at 7 o'clock, there's a group of about half a dozen Canadians, half a dozen Americans, and we try to get the problem solved.
Good for you. Thank you. Councillor Salt.
I too, on the 5th, attended the Columbia Basin Trust Community Initiative Public Presentation Night, and as always, it's always good to attend, hear the different presentations, be able to circulate before the open house and ask questions as well. So it was a very good evening, and glad to be there. And then on Friday, I had a Columbia Basin Regional Advisory Committee Columbia River Treaty Update teleconference call. So, and it was good to get an update from them and to have the different parties across the country on the line. And things are moving slowly, but they are still progressing. And there's certainly been a lot of discussions between Canadians and U.S. counterparts. So keep watching for improvements and follow-ups there.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Torgerson.
The afternoon of the 5th, I had a board meeting of the Valemount Community Forest Company, quickly followed by an evening at the public meeting for the CIAP. And the following day, on the 6th, I had a meeting of the Tourism Valemount Committee.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and thank you for standing in for me at the Community Initiatives presentations. I really appreciate that. I was in Saskatchewan, as you know, to celebrate my mother's 99th birthday, and I appreciate that. And
I'm here before you now.
yes, of course. The one thing that I really want to comment on with respect to the community initiatives is that when the Columbia Basin Trust was enacted, we were given we call it a three-legged stool mandate: social, economic, and environmental. And there's predominantly social, year after year after year. And I can remember at the community hall when we used to have presentations that people used to even ask the proponents, is it volunteer or are you expecting to get paid? But this is for community betterment, economic, environmental, and social. And it should be people volunteering to improve the economic and environmental and social well-being of the municipality. And I did mention previously with respect to wanting our own equipment to measure the index so that we're not compared or said to be the same as McBride, and it hasn't been undertaken. And I'm wondering if Public Works Committee would consider suggesting it to the fire department. I don't see why they couldn't ask for community initiatives funding to put up the equipment which would environmentally serve the community. Yes, Councillor Torgerson. I know that you and Councillor Reimer are on that.
I think under the current guidelines of that funding program, the Village of Valemount could very well apply for that kind of funding. And have perhaps a community partner such as the Senior Housing Society, the CVCA, so younger children, anyone that basically breathes, have a letter of support and become a community partner in that funding application.
Okay. I don't think it's probably too late because there is some funding left over, I understand. Councillor Blanchette? Possibly? Okay. We have to pay attention to that it has to be social, economic, and environmental, and not all 90% social, okay? And, or 80% or whatever. We do have an obligation to meet that three-legged stool. And again, thank you, Councillor Torgerson, for stepping in for me there. And I too attended the teleconference on March 9th. I was on Via Rail and attended in the lounge. So yes, Councillor Salt, it was interesting to hear the progress that they are making, and the one question that I had asked you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. And this morning there was the local government committee of the Columbia Basin Trust, or Columbia Basin area, also getting an update from federal representatives and the Provincial Ministry of Energy. And I think that's it. So I'll take a motion now that the verbal reports provided by Mayor Townsend and Councillors Blanchette, Reimer, Salt, and Torgerson be received. Blanchette and Torgerson. Any comments? Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 13.1. Oh, sorry, the new business. Okay, and I'm leaving that to Councillor Reimer to make the motion, please.
So I'd like to make the motion that we, first of all, ask our administration to seek clarification from the Ministry of Finance as to the exact details surrounding the proposed 0.5% for 2018, 2% 2019 of assessed value of secondary homes. There appears to be very little clarification as to exactly what is meant by secondary homes, who is targeted, are just speculators targeted, are non-residents of Canada targeted, or is everybody in the same brush? There seems to be very little clarification on any of that from the material that I've been able to come across. And obviously, it's a concern for us locally, but it's certainly a concern for a lot of communities in this province, how exactly that's going to be applied.
Okay, so the motion is that the administration, direct the administration to seek clarification.
Yeah, so that we have details on hand so that we know exactly how that's affect us in our community.
Okay, so you've got that, Ms. Shepherd? Okay, could I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Salt. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councillor Torgerson.
I wish the administration best of luck in seeking clarification on this particular matter.
Well, the Minister of Finance should be able to provide that.
It's still ongoing. You might be able to get an update as of tomorrow,
Okay.
but it may change on
Yes.
Friday.
Okay. Well, I guess we have to await budget adoption.
We could put a ladder together, Your
Yes.
Worship. Look into it.
Okay, good. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor? carried. And your second amendment, agenda amendment, Councillor Reimer.
So the second amendment is that I'd like to make a motion that we have a look at our bylaws to see whether we have any bylaw that is related specifically to marijuana and work-related issues. And from what I've been reading, there is advice that every employer has a marijuana-specific bylaw in their package, basically, to address any concerns that arise from work-related issues where marijuana may be involved once it's legalized. Unlike or similar to alcohol, obviously, that there are common sense things, but this may be treated differently, and evidently an Alberta employer that wants to do random testing has been denied that privilege, even though the employees have to operate equipment where people could be killed, or if somebody makes a mistake or isn't able to make proper judgment or discernment. So I think we need to protect ourselves and the community by having a proper bylaw in our set of bylaws to address that.
Okay, could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Blanchette seconds that. Is there any discussion, council? Any comments? Yes, Councillor Torgerson.
I asked the councillor for clarification. Councillor, are you proposing that the Village of Valemount adopt a bylaw that pertains to businesses here in town, or a policy that pertains to the municipality?
It would have to be to the municipality.
The bylaw would be for us as a municipality being an employer.
An employer, that's correct. Yes.
Your Worship.
Davey.
So that's a policy since it's internally. We currently do policy number 57. It's drugs and alcohol policy, and it does speak directly to this. However, if council should wish, I could push this off to our lawyer to ensure that it's top notch.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davey, and I believe that there are probably many templates to copy. I know that other municipalities do have bylaws with respect to alcohol and drug consumption during working hours. Yes.
You're right, Your Worship.
Yes.
We currently do. It's quite strong. We've used it on several occasions in the past.
Okay.
But should council wish, we could certainly get a second opinion.
Okay. Okay, so a second opinion, Councillor Reimer, that would be satisfactory to you? One from perhaps Mr. Lidstone.
That would be satisfactory, yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything further? You're ready for the question? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we can go to 13.1, the project file tracker. Motion, please, that the project file tracker be received. Councillors Torgerson and Salt. And is there anything that council wishes to question or ask for further information? It's very well done. We can certainly keep track of exactly where we are on all of our policy and plans, strategic, etc. I would like to mention, I believe it's here under emergency, that in Valemount on March 19 at the community center, 6 o'clock, there will be a demonstration on Burn It Smart free wood stove workshop. And perhaps that could be given to the press, if that's present, and have it noted. Thank you. Is there any question with respect to the tracking? Do we have a mover and a seconder? Yeah, we do. Okay. Any questions? No? All in favor? Carried. 14.1, calendar of events for March and April 2018. No motion is required. And 15.1, public comment on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda. Is there any comment? Yes.
My name is Rashmi Narayan and I live in Valemount. And my comment is related to the public hearing rezoning, and I did speak during the public hearing.
I'm sorry, you can't speak to it now. The public hearing is closed.
I realize it's a public comment, not for that. So I know we can talk about things in the agenda, and it's not directly related to that property. I just want to talk about short-term vacation rentals, secondary homes and short-term vacation rentals. So related to policy of having a secondary home designated as a short-term vacation rental. Many municipalities have policy that secondary homes are to be used for long-term vacation rentals and for their own family use. And this is because of the affordable housing issue, it's become a policy in many communities, including, I've researched it, and Fernie is one of them, and many resort communities are doing it. And just from that point of view, I wanted the staff to be aware that it's an up-and-coming issue in many communities who are creating policies around that, and as administration gets more requests for secondary homes for this purpose, I think it's something we should research and become more aware of. So that's the only comment I have.
Thank you. Is there any further comment? Okay. Hearing none, motion please to receive the public comments. Okay, Salt and Blanchette. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 16.1, notice to proceed to in-camera meeting. Recommendation that council proceed to an in-camera council meeting for consideration of 3 items per section 90, 1, G and K, pardon me, of the community charter to discuss matters related to G, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, 1 agenda item, and K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that, in the view of council, could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. 2 agenda items. Motion, please. Torgerson and Blanchette. All in favor? Carried. I forgot to mention this. With respect to our grade 2 and 3 Valemount Elementary guests, 2 weeks ago yesterday, they sent a thank you for their wonderful visit. And they all hand-painted little animals. So that's special. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Excuse me.